Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sorry about that, there were a few things I wanted to show you guys that I forgot to get, but welcome back to my channel. It's Yoon, and today's video is what I read in May and my thoughts on them. So I know it's been a while. I do have some videos planned. I read a book that I said I was gonna film a reading vlog, but there was something that I kind of had to read that book for, and there just wasn't time, or it just wasn't possible to make like a decent reading vlog out of that. So there's no reading vlog, but I will talk about it here. And yeah, I read, oh my gosh, I actually forgot to tell you a really embarrassing story time before we get into what I read in May. So there's this one cafe near my place that I do like to go to because their lemon Earl Grey cookies are so amazing, so good. But normally I didn't feel that embarrassed because the lady, I don't know if she's like in charge or she's like the main worker, she normally doesn't seem to recognize me, even though I'm not gonna lie, I do tend to wear the same outfit when I go there because I go there from my place and I have like this one lazy outfit that is like for after a certain distance. She normally doesn't seem to recognize me, so I'm always like, okay, like I'll just get here, I'll tell her like my number for some points, for mileage points, and then head out with my stash of cookies. And I always get the same one because for me that's what's tasty from that cafe. I mean, everything else is tasty, but this is what I love. And today I went with my sister and I didn't think she was gonna recognize me, but she did. And I was like, of all the times, this is the one time you recognize me. Not only recognize me, she remembers what I get. And I feel like you guys might be saying like, oh, isn't that kind of a given, like especially since you seem to like you're going all the time. I'm like, yeah, but every other moment before today she seemed like she never recognized me. So I'm like, how is it that this is the day you seem to recognize me? And then my sister was like, oh, what if she like recognized you because I was there with you? And I was like, if that's the case, I'm gonna be offended low-key because I go there alone so much more often than I ever went with my sister. So I'm like, I feel like that's so rude. Yeah, so that's what happened. And also I wanted to share with you guys 2 stationery writing related items that I recently got and I really like, and I'm gonna kind of talk about why I got them. But it is 2 binder notebooks. I have an A4 size and a B5 size. So let me get to the A4 size because this is what I bought first. So first of all, I think I found this on like an Instagram story ad, but it was good. I'm not mad at it because honestly I love it. So I basically got it because of the concept. I will admit I have been wanting like a binder notebook. This just made me determined to get this one because, like I said, the overall concept and kind of design behind it. So first of all, the look, I love it. Second, the whole concept design is kind of like an editing book slash magazine, just like a design that is related to writing and editing and is to make you think of things like that. So it says issue in progress, and then like for example it has like this kind of office-y style spine sticker. And then I got this theme and it has like this little badge here, and then it has like index papers, and the index papers also really continue to show that stuff, as you can see, like the writer, editor, article 1, and yeah. So and then it has like the paper is grid, and then it has again article stuff, and then it's got like different color schemes. So this side's more in orange, no, it's pink side, and then I also have green and blue. And this one I bought because I did well, first, like I said, I love the concept design behind this, and because I've been wanting to get back into writing, I was like, you know what, let's just get this huge A4 size Define Your Pretty notebook and just do my writing stuff in here. So I started very little. I need to try to make it a habit of doing like some writing every day, but I love this whole design, and something so satisfying about opening this notebook that has like a concept design that I absolutely love, with really pretty paper, good quality, and yeah. So, and fear not, that is not the only thing I got. I got their B5 size. And this one, I like this one color scheme a bit more because it's purple, it's like pretty, it's pastel-y. And this one is also same, issue in progress. I think I designed the stickers a bit better here. I kept this the same, I put a little background in it, and then this is a bit different of the spine, and this is just the back. I like this quote, like, the process of editing is putting the pieces together and making sense out of them. So I just really like the entire editing, writing, magazine-esque concept design behind it. And then this is kind of the one I got for the B5. And again, I got lined paper for this one this time, but I've got purple green and pink blue, and yeah, it's very pretty. I got this one to try to do like a bit more for class, school related stuff, so like paper ideas or just things to note for like to research, or if I'm reading an article. I think I wanted to get kind of back into handwriting for that stuff. Annotations still will be digitally, but I feel like it'll make it easier to focus and retain what I'm reading for research from articles if I were to handwrite it and just really take my time to think through and like see what I understood and everything. So I bought this one for more like academic, more school related things, and the other one's for my more creative side. But yeah, that is what I bought. That was an kind of embarrassing story time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will get back to talking about the books I read. Why did I exit out of my phone? I don't remember. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I read, oh my gosh. I read 1, 2, 3, 4 books and 3 manga volumes. So I read a total of 7 books this month, and let me get started. So the first book, this one, I'm not really putting with my other books because it's a bit on the older side. It is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I think this is translated from French. I buddy read this with a friend, and I think one of my most recent vlog actually is just me chilling at a cafe while reading this and like reading other schoolworks. So this one, I think I rated this on the lower side, like not that low, but lower than I have been recently, like a 3.25 to 3.5. And the reason is that my friend and I both agree that this was a really well written and well translated book. It was super easy to read. The language was really beautiful. It was easy but also very well written. I don't know how else. It wasn't purple language, but it was just as if I could kind of imagine it. Does that even make sense? Anyways, but we both kind of, not necessarily issues, but we were just so confused and just had so many questions that were unanswered or just didn't make sense. And yeah, like the introduction does say like prepare to have your answers like your questions unanswered, but we weren't really happy about it. For me, the biggest thing was the entire presence of men in here. So the title, first of all, I Who Have Never Known Men. Okay, very interesting title. You're gonna think, okay, why does that matter? But then it's like, in the end, I still can't figure out why the presence of men was so prominent or needed, like, because throughout the story it's kind of a post, like, we don't really know what happened to the world, but it's kind of dystopian where this group of women and our main character were locked inside a cage, like a prison, and held underground for who knows how many years. They don't know why they were there, they don't know what's happening outside, and they're kind of conditioned to follow the rules. One day, and all the prisoner guards are men, but like they never touch them or anything. And one day the prison guards run away and the doors are mysteriously and luckily left unlocked, and the woman and the girl manage to get out, and they find out that the world is like empty. It's not the same as it was. They don't even know if it's Earth, and it's just kind of like how our main character learns about life and herself inside a prison, and then how she kind of adapts to a world outside. But the thing that I was like, okay, from that premise and from kind of the way the story, you feel like you're going to read a story about like women's solidarity or independence, or also just like as humans, kind of the ability to adapt, or what does it mean to be human when maybe perhaps a lot of our understanding or like approach to what it means to be human is based on societal constructs and etc. But then all of that kind of gets ruined by the little moments. They're like few in between, but they're so impactful to the main character, and it's the presence of men. But like, again, for example, all the guards were men. They didn't mistreat them like actively, but they weren't well treated, and it was just so weird how our main character was so fascinated, and kind of at one point she like really starts to put men on a pedestal, and I was just so confused and honestly disappointed at that approach, because it's like we could have had something, but then you give us kind of like this in a sense. So yeah, that was kind of the reason for my low rating. But that was I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. And then I'm not gonna really go in order, so I'm just gonna go with the volumes. But I read 3 manga volumes. I read them all from the library. Thankfully, I read them in English. I read Tokyo Aliens volumes 4 and 5. I can't remember much of what happened already, but the story is getting real serious, it's getting really heavy. The silver hair guy is suspicious as hell, and I just don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's going on. I have a theory, but in case you haven't read those volumes, I don't want to say it out loud just yet. But yeah, he is suspicious AF, okay? Like, there's so many things that he could be behind or thinking or planning or scheming. But yeah, as always, the art is amazing. The action scenes are always so well drawn. And then the 3rd manga volume I read was Cherry Magic, volume 10. You guys, that volume was so freaking wholesome, okay? It was so freaking cute. I have been occasionally thinking back on that and almost crying, because it's so wholesome, it's so beautiful. Like, what happens in that volume and just the main couple is so freaking cute and wholesome, okay? I'm gonna go mix the rice and I'll be right back. Yeah, but it was so beautiful that I think I'm gonna try to buy the English volume or ask my sister to get it for me, because I need a physical copy of that, okay? Beautiful. And then, okay, so you have seen this reading vlog, I hope. If you haven't, do check it out if you're interested. But I think the first thing I read actually in May was The Disabled, I said that really weird, The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. And that one, what did I rate it? Okay, I don't know my specific rating, I just rated it a 5 on Goodreads, but it was so funny. This one is a danmei, where our main character transmigrates into a fish, and he's tasked with the goal by a system to prevent the would-be tyrant from becoming a tyrant and just becoming like the #1 priority in his life if he wants to be able to become human again. And that's just kind of our journey of how our fish has to really struggle to catch the eye of the would-be tyrant, as right now an ugly carp, an ugly gray carp, and become like the #1 priority. So our main character has quite the task to do, but it's so funny. It's really lighthearted. It has some wild elements that I feel like, while the story and the plot is lighthearted enough that if you want to get into danmei, that is a good book, there are some elements that might turn you away from it, just because that's kind of like, it's like kind of a thing that when you read a genre, you have to read enough of it to like eventually be like into some of the like quote-unquote weirder elements within that genre. This one I say might be one of those elements, so it's like a risk you'll have to take. I had a comment ask about the rating. It is not rated 17+ like some of 7C's previous publications are, and from what I have read, it does not go to that point. It does have like implied scenes, but it doesn't go explicitly. But yeah, that one, hilarious. I highly recommend that book. And another one is my last 2 books. One of them I have finally finished after months of not touching it. I think, what was my reading date for this one? I ate the nice. I started this August 25th last year, and I finished it in May, and it is Guardian by Priest. Like, this took me forever, and I'm going to get a little bit into the why, but I will say I really enjoyed it. I'll give this like a 4.5. I rated a 4 on Goodreads, but it was still a really fun book. And the premise of this is, it's also a danmei, but this one has like, okay, so the thing about this book is that the premise itself should have been like itching my brain just right, because it literally has all of the elements that I love, specifically within mystery. And literally it's just like it's just supernatural mysteries, occasionally murder mysteries, and I love those books. I love stories that are like that. Hence why, despite me being a coward for horror movies, I still do like supernatural horror movies. But the thing is that it gets like, there's quite a bit of heavy information in the story that it does kind of slow down the plot. And I think the thing about that is that the mysteries are not necessarily a focus, but they're all very important to the overall like plot and mystery going on. But I kind of wanted more focus on like the supernatural mysteries, like more ghosts, more haunted places, or etc. So I think that's kind of where I lagged. But it's actually really interesting, like in the overall mystery happening. And just sometimes I still did get lost just because it was so many terms I didn't know, or just not a lot of explanation, just a lot of name dropping and information dropping for now. I feel like I have a good idea of what's going on because I did start the 2nd volume, but I feel like, so there's like 3 arcs in here. The 2nd arc I think is the one that is like the mountain to hit in the book, but once you get past it and you get to the 3rd arc, so freaking interesting. Okay, so freaking interesting. And it really develops more in the 2nd volume, but you do see hints of it starting in the 1st one. If you like angsty yearning, I do recommend this book. This book, I mean, you obviously would have to get through the 1st volume, but the 2nd volume hits you immediately with that really strong angsty yearning, but it's written in a way that you really feel the yearning. Like, it doesn't feel cringe or anything. It's just you're like, oh my gosh, please let them be happy for like whatever thing you might be theorizing or thinking has happened. Like, please let them be happy. And if you are into it, this used to be tagged, or it's known to like have the tragic past, and that is also a very important factor to the final overall like undercurrent mystery. So if those are some of the elements you like, highly recommend it. And I honestly love how flirty our main character is. He'll take any opportunity to get close and flirty with the love interest, and it's so funny and super cute. But yeah, Guardian. I also, so yeah, and finally for the last book, it is Little Mushrooms by Shisi. Guys, I'm so sorry. I was going to film a reading vlog for it, but like I said, things happened and then I didn't have enough time and it just wasn't a good moment to film a reading vlog. But what I'm going to say is I love Little Mushroom. I thought I was a huge fan of Little Mushroom after the first volume. This one just cemented Little Mushroom as like one of my, at the moment, until I organize it, one of my top 10 books ever. It's so good. Okay, like I had actually thought to myself, I was like, wow, this book is written and translated so well. It really delivers, and just really delivers the message, or not like the message, but like you can really get, I don't know how do I say, you just really feel when you're reading the story, and it's just so well delivered. I love everything, and despite kind of like the stress and the heaviness in it, it's still delivered with like little moments of cuteness, of love and humor. But it just really gets you thinking, and it's just so well written, and it's just amazing, and I love it. But yeah, so this was my last book that I read, and that's it. I think this is one of the fastest times I managed to do a monthly wrap-up. I think also more so because I feel like I gave a good amount of information per each book, except for Little Mushroom, because this is like part 2, so I probably talked about it in the first one. For Guardian, you know what, this is a bit complicated. I don't want to turn you guys away from it from my convoluted explanation, but I hope you guys check it out if you like the elements that I gave you. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys give the books that I read here a shot. They were all so good. This was actually a really good reading month. And yeah, I'm actually happy looking and like talking over everything I had read. I had a good reading month. So yeah, thank you guys for watching again. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.